Hi guys, I'm BK. I hope you all fine. Today we're going to learn Docker network. This is Docker series. If you are new to this Docker series, first go to watch my previous video. In my previous video, I have already explained about what is Docker container, what is Docker image, what is Docker file, what is Docker volume. Today we're going to learn Docker network. This is the repository I'm using this Docker series. You'll get this link on this video description. You don't need to worry about the commands which I perform in this Docker series. Okay. Here you can see Docker underscore part 6. This is the folder I'm using today. Let's get started. Docker network. What is Docker network? So Docker network enable communication between Docker containers and between the containers and the outside world. The container can be isolated or connected using a different network type depending upon the requirement on your application. Okay. So if I explain like this, definitely you guys will not understand what I'm speaking. Okay, so instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the story. So this is my Docker application architecture before Docker network. Okay, so this architecture I'm not using a Docker network concept. Okay, so this is my server. Inside my server I have already installed a Docker. So this is my MySQL container, which is a database container. Okay, where all the data will store. This is my application. This is a Python application. So this application port is 443. Okay. This database port is 5001. Okay. If any request comes from this 443, the request will hit my database and get the database. So this is how my Docker application architecture before Docker network. Okay. Now one of my client come to me and asking me, hey Bharati, I don't want our database in public. Why he saying database in public? Here you see, this is my local. If I want to access this database, I can easily access from my local. How? This application, the server has public IP. Okay, from that public IP, I can connect my database. So if you want to connect your database in your local, you should have pg admin or dbware. Okay, so there we should provide the credential, which is a host and password and username and port, so I can easily connect our database. So that's why my client asking me, I don't want our database in public, I want our database in private. How to do? Then I am thinking a lot. Okay, now I going to learn Docker network. How the Docker network keep our database in private. I'll explain you another story. So this is our same server. Inside the server, we already have a Docker environment. So inside we have a 2 container. So this is my application container. This is my database container. Okay. So I going to create a Docker network. So before you learn Docker network, you should have a little knowledge on what is IP address, what types of IP address, and types of IP address classes, and what is subnet, what is CIDR range. We should know those concepts so that you can understand what I'm saying. Okay. So this is my application, this is my database container. Okay, so this application port is 443. My user can access my application through this port. Now, what I'm going to do is, inside my application, I need to configure my database credential so that this application can access my database. Okay. So inside this application, I need to provide this database credential detail. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a Docker network. So this network providing a private IP address, which is 172.0.0.1/16, which means now I have a 64,000 private IP address for this network. Okay, then I'm going to connect this database, then I going to connect this application. Okay, this application also using this private IP, this database also using this private IP, but this private IP is different, 172.0.0.2/24. This application private IP 172.0.0.3/24. Now this application needs my database credential so that my application can get the data from my database. So here you see 172.0.0.2. This is my private IP of this database. So in my application, what I gonna do is I going to configure this private IP details. Okay, which means this two thing in same IP range. Okay, still you guys not understand this concept. We're going to do a hands-on, then you will understand. Okay, so this is the repository I'm using. Here you can see docker underscore part 6. Now first I going to create a network. Okay, by using main. Okay, so this is my bridge. You see this is a docker network and creating a network called application network. Okay, now the application network is successfully created. I just want to list the network by using docker network ls. You see application network is successfully created. Now I want to inspect this application network by using docker inspect. You see this here, this is my subnet range. So this is my gateway. Okay, I have successfully created my own network. Okay, the network name is application underscore network. Now I need a 2 container. Okay, so in this hands-on video, we are not going to create a database container. 2 container is going to be a application container. Okay, now what we are trying to do is we are going to create a 2 container. So 2 container is a Python container. So this Python, this is a 2 second container, this is a first container. So we are sending the request to second container and we get back the request. Okay, this is the thing we're going to do. We're going to achieve by using docker network. For that, first I need to create the docker image, then I need to build the docker image, then I need to up the docker container. This is the app 1. I'm going to create a 2 folder, app 2. Okay, inside this folder, first I need to do this. Flask import Flask. JSONify imports request. So this is a Flask application. Has name app.route app 1. This is a function get the request from second application. So in this video I'm not going to explain this codes. Okay, so in separate video I will explain the response is equal to request dot get. So this is a get request HTTP. So here I go into mention this gateway. So this is going to be a 5,000 slash app2 return, which is Sonify. Just point of JSON. The name is equal to main app dot run this server running on port 5000. Okay, so this is my code is completed. I'm going to create a docker image, docker file from base images, Python 3. Slim what directory is app. I'm going to copy everything. Next, install requirements.txt cmd Python. If you are not understanding this docker file, go to watch my previous video. In my previous video I have already explained everything. Okay, I have successfully done this code, and also I have successfully done this docker file, and I need to add this requirement.txt. So inside I need a Flask, I need a request request. Okay, so let's build this docker image. Then okay, so app1 folder. So how to build a docker image? By using docker build -t app image. This is the image name dot. So image is building. If there is any error, we will, what is the error? Not completed. So okay, so here I should add -r. Again I go into build. Okay, now my application is now my image is ready. I'm going to run this docker container by using docker run and -d. This is a detach mode. -p 5000. This is actually the external port. This is the internal port. Now I need to provide docker image name, which is app image. Let's run this. Now the container is up and running. Let's verify there is any error or not. For that I need to use docker inspect. Oops. Docker logs, sorry, -f. You see this? The container is up and running. Okay, So we successfully completed this first application. Okay, now we're going to create another application. For that, I'm going to copy everything and I'm going to paste here. This application, I need to do some changes. That is app 2, and I'm going to remove this. Good. So function name is again application.
Is it recording?
So this is a JSON key and value type, which is a message. I love you. This is a key. This is a value. Okay. This one also completed. Let's check. This one also completed. Everything is completed. Okay. Now I go to app 2. I'm going to perform the same command which I'm performing in app 1 folder. Okay. First I need to build this. You build. I have already commands. Image 1. Okay, image is successfully built. I'm going to run this. Docker run Hitachi mode -p 002. First check what is the port. Docker ps running on 5001. Okay, let's access this. Wow. No page found. Okay, now supposed to be a, you see, inside this container this application is running on port 5000. That's why here I mentioned 5000. So outside I want to access my application through this port. Okay, many people getting confusing when they providing this information. Okay, my second application also up and running. I just want to verify. Docker logs -f. You see, second application also verified. Now I have two application. Okay, so I need to connect my network. I have already created my application network. Docker network ls. So this is my application network. I'm going to copy this. So I need to attach this network to my container. So for that I need to use a Docker network connect. So this is a network ID. This is going to be a first one, first image, first container. I have completed. So second container I have completed. Now I need to verify by using whether the application is connected with this network or not. For that I need to use a Docker inspect. You see this? Two application is successfully connected with this Docker network. Now I go into use this app 1. Can't see anything. Why? Let's cross verify second network. Okay. /app1 find where is the, oh sorry, there is an error. There is a error. Again I going to build this same image, and again I need to up this container. Sometimes it happened. Please. Docker build -t. This time I going to up this container, my first container in 553. Okay. Again I going to change the directory app2. So again I need to build this image. Just a 1. Okay, then I need to up the container in port 5004 and 1. Let's 500. Let's try this 002. Yes, I can see no, not found, and I should go this path. So I need to debug what is happening inside. Thing is good. Yeah, I need to map this network connection. Docker network TLS application network. I'll copy this Docker PS. Okay, how to connect with the Docker network to Docker container? By using Docker network connect command. So I'm going to paste this network ID, and this is my first container. This is my second container. Okay, now I'm going to close this. Not happening. Go. So the same thing. Space Docker PS. Copy this Docker. So, oops. First I should delete this container, because my previous container, so already 2 IP address allocated. This is IP address 1, this is IP address, sorry, this is IP address 2, this is IP address 3. Okay, but in my code I point out, you see 3. So we need to delete this previous container. For that we should use Docker stop first, then we should delete the container by using Docker RM container ID. The same we need to follow. The Docker yes, let's verify we have how many containers. We have only these containers, and I going to disconnect, and I also going to disconnect this, then I will connect. I connected first one. So this concept is a bit hard, because you should know the networking concept, so that you can easily understand everything. Let's try whether I can. Oops, supposed to be 3. It's running on 3. You see this? Now I can get the request from my second server. Okay, now Docker PS. You see, this is my first server, my first application, this is my second application. So inside the application, you see I providing my I providing my private IP of this network. Okay, if I directly click this, you can see the message. Okay, this is my second server. My second server is in this IP range. Okay, this second application has this IP range. My first application has 172.19.0.2. Okay, I want to verify Docker network ls. So I'm going to copy this Docker inspect and paste this. You see this? This is my first application is in IP range of 172.19.0.2. My second application is on 172.19.0.3, which means this first application has my second application private IP. Okay, so go to this board. Now what we done, I'll explain you. So this is my Docker network. So inside the Docker network, first I created a Docker network, right? So this is you assume this is a Docker network. This Docker network range is 172.0.0.1/16. Okay, this is the Docker network range. So inside the Docker network, I'm going to connect my two application. Okay, here you can see this is a one application and another application is in so you can't access because you should provide this app too. Okay, this is my first application, this is my second application. So this second application has this message data. So what I trying to do is, this is the first application, this is my second application. This first application has this second application private IP, which is 72.0.0.3/16. Okay, so this first application code has this application private IP. So this if I hit the request from my first application, okay, it directly send the request to this IP address and get back the message and showing on our screen. So I hope you guys understand this concept. Still, if you are not understand, first go to learn about the networking concept so that you can understand. Okay, so now we are completed bridge network. Okay, now I'm going to explain what this bridge network means. So this is what we are doing. Bridge network. There are types of Docker network. So we are completed this bridge network. Now we are going to learn what is this bridge network. As you all know, the network enable communication between. Sorry, where is it? I should open this. You see, this is a default network type for standalone container. The container in the same bridge network can communicate each other. This is what we have done. Okay, while external communication is limited to map ports. Use cases useful for creating isolated network where the container can communicate internally without explore all the service to external network. Okay, this is what we have achieved today. So still, if you are not get understand, first you learn a networking concept. Okay, in our next video, we will see host network and overlay network and NUN network and MacFlan network. Okay, now you may ask, I'm creating Docker network, Docker container on my local, but it doesn't have any network. You may ask like that. In my previous video, I have already explained what is Docker. Docker container is a microcomputer. Okay, that computer needs network so that they can communicate each other, so that they can communicate with the external world. Okay, without network, how they can communicate? So, if you create any Docker container, that container will use a default network. If you want to view, you can use a Docker network ls. So here you can see this is the default network. So it take the IP from this network. All the container has a private IP. Okay. So this is a default private IP. But in our hands-on video, we done private IP, which is our own private network. Okay, this is a own private, not a default one. Okay, this is the own. So we have completed this bridge network concept. I hope this video will help you. If you find this video helpful to you, please subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching and thank you for your time.